For a government that touts environmentalism and sustainability, the 3G shutdown has been a dick move. Thousands upon thousands of devices that are fairly new are now just bricks in a wall of e-waste. Friends, TECHMANPAT here. Welcome to a very quick report, maybe just a rant, but maybe a summary of what's happened with the 3G shutdown so far. And I say so far because not everything has been shut down just yet, and it may be weeks before we know the full scope of this debacle. Make sure to like and subscribe. Let's get started into a bit of a thought dump on what's happened so far. Over the next couple of weeks, what you're going to see in the news is reports about people having lost connectivity on their phones, whether it be on the Optus network, Telstra, Vodafone, it doesn't really matter. There's just going to be articles about this all day and every day. And they're going to talk about how they just bought a 4G capable phone or compatible phone, and now it is basically e-waste. And that is very disappointing because retailers right now who don't really know this part are still selling phones that are incompatible with the current Australian telco communication system. Meaning when 3G shuts down, they are unable to make phone calls to 000 emergency phone calls, and therefore the telecommunications companies have to block these phones from ever being able to be used beyond just bricks. Because if you have a phone that cannot call 000 but can connect to data and make phone calls, because then in an emergency situation, that's going to cause a lot of issues of not being able to call somebody. But you wouldn't go on a hike if your phone doesn't really work. So I guess it's a good thing in that regard. But my thought is that it just has not been thought through thoroughly enough for all those devices out there that still use 3G. And what you'll notice is a lot of machinery will lose connectivity, and farmers will have to redo all their systems, which is going to cost a pretty penny. Not only that, what I've been reading online and have had a few people reach out to me is that while their phones are completely compatible with the new system and can make emergency calls through 4G, what's happened is areas where they used to get 3G services and are able to get data have now become dead spots. So 4G and 5G towers just do not have the reach that a 3G tower has. And once those are shut down, there will be lots and lots of black spots. So even if you're on Telstra, who always say they have the best coverage, well, maybe not anymore, especially in regional areas. So it's caused two problems now. Lots of environmental e-waste issues, of course, people being disappointed that their one-year-old phones now do not work. And then it's created more black spots for a country as large as Australia and needing to have coverage or communication capabilities throughout those regions and this large country. That is absolutely disappointing. Now, here's the thing I want to point out. The brands that are being predominantly affected are overseas: ASUS, Sony, Xiaomi, Oppo, and OnePlus. Those that were built in China with rather cheaper chips, because those chips are built in such a way that they use the 3G network to call 000 services in all countries. And so things like the iPhone, unless it's really old, shouldn't have this problem, even though it's still built in China. Now, the problem is any visitor or tourist or overseas traveler will probably more than likely have that phone, especially if they're coming from Europe or Asia in general, and that will be very problematic when they land in Australia and their phone doesn't work, even though it's probably even a 6-month to a year-old phone. So it's going to cause a lot of tourists a lot of issues. Now, of course, students who are here on student visas, that's going to be problematic for them too, because that's an extra cost they're going to have to spend to buy another phone because, well, no communication. Good luck with that. Now, I've also been hearing, and please let me know in the comments, that devices that are on the compatibility list are not working unless they've been purchased through the telco. In fact, it seems that the telcos themselves have some limited control on setting the profiles on the device to use the 4G network to make emergency calls instead of dropping back to the 3G network. This is particularly interesting because it's now bringing back a problem that I thought we left behind, and that is carrier-locked devices. We're back to it, and it's very disappointing. Potentially a telco will say, well, this device only works on our network and it's on the compatibility list, but if you go somewhere else, it will not work. So good luck with that. An extra question I'd also like to pose is, why has the ACMA not done more about this? Now, we know that Michelle Rowland, the Minister for Communications, has been talking about it, but felt like it's led to nothing. But I know there's already been one delay in shutting this down, but it's been such a confusing mess to everyone involved that this is what I would call a debacle. Telstra said in a statement it was only blocking devices that don't meet emergency calling capabilities and nothing more. And so far there has been no accountability to the telcos and not really much of a fix either. Friends, this has been a bit of a rant, but maybe a call to action. Let me know your thoughts below. Has this affected you at all right now? It's been about a couple of days now since the shutdown, and I really want to hear from you. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'll chat to you below. Bye!